Fam, let's talk real. When you meet somebody new in Trinidad, what do they ask? What you just do? Where you live? What school you went to? What job you have? They're sizing you up and trying to assess whether you're broke and poor, if you belong to the lower middle class, upper middle class, or if you have money and you're rich, without actually saying it. We don't admit it, but we treat people by class. This video cuts through all that. No fluff, just facts on Trinidad's money ladder. Give me 15 minutes and I'll show you where you stand and how to rise this money pyramid. Let's face it together. So, welcome back to the third Bara, your spot for financial education with a Trini twist. Today, we're diving into the 4 socioeconomic classes in Trinidad and Tobago, which are defined by income and net worth. Net worth is if you sum up the value of everything you own and you minus all the things that you owe, and that final value is your net worth. So maybe you're hustling in Arima or in Grandi, you're clocking in your swipe card in San Fernando, or bossing it in West Moorings or Gulf City. This video is for you. Now I know some of you might be like, Third Bara, this sounding like a statistics class. Boring. Or monster, these labels, lower class, upper class, that is not for me. I am just trying to survive day to day. I hear you. But check this. By the time we are done, you will know where you are today and how to switch it up in your money game to level up tomorrow. Picture it. Moving from stressing daily with bills to building a legacy. That's what's on the line. What's the win? You'll get clarity on your cash flow and you'll get a roadmap to your dream. Whether it be breaking free of the daily grind, owning a house, or stacking wealth like the big boys. We hitting the poor, lower middle class, upper middle class, and the rich. Breaking down their income and net worth and what's keeping them in these levels. Plus, I'm going to be dropping some insider tips to help you elevate your game to move up that socioeconomic pyramid. Ready? Let's dig in. First up, the poor. Surviving the day-to-day struggle. Ever wonder how some Trinis making it on crumbs and what keeping them stuck in that grind? Real talk. 1 in 4 we, 24% trapped in poverty. According to the Inter-American Development Bank, that's thousands barely holding on in places like Lavantil, Beetham, and all the old sugar belt areas. Ain't just bad luck, it's a system with low skills, shaky jobs, and desperation running on the show. They're pulling less than 3,000 Trinidad and Tobago dollars a month. That's about 440 USD. Minimum wage jump to $20.50 Trinidad and Tobago dollars an hour in 2023. That's 3,280 TT monthly for a 40-hour week, around 480 US. Government workers get a little more, $22.50 TT per hour, or 3,600 TT for the month. But most ain't clocking full time, 40 hours a week. And what are the jobs? That's like security guards, janitors, laborers, watchmen, farm hands, drivers, delivery guys, low income hustles with no ladder up. And what about their net worth? Barely zero. It's probably in the negative, but nothing more than 10,000 TT. A beat up fridge, a shaky couch, they have no land, no savings. So why it's so rough? Education's a wall. Most don't have high income skills. They are stuck with what's basic and close. The jobs are shaky, 43% unemployment hitting the young hard, and government programs like CPEP and URP throw in temporary gigs like roadside cleaning or construction, but it ain't steady. Then you have these Venezuelan migrants that's slipping in, taking the under the table below minimum wage payments and snatching potential work that would have otherwise been available for these unemployed guys. What about loans? Banks not touching people within this low income class. They falling therefore for liquidity, they falling for them susu hands or those pyramid schemes. Chasing fast cash that usually goes them after a couple rounds. So they end up losing out in the long run. Picture 300,000 squatters with no title, costs are climbing, their wages are non existent or flat. It's a treadmill on sprint mode. But they could still flip it by working more hours, pushing past that 40, and you can stash that extra cash, save it, and focus on a higher level skill than you have. Trinidad got free vibes like the community education program from the ministry or the part time program of continuing education and training for adults. In these programs, you are able to learn a trade like coding or customer service, something with legs to be able to upskill yourself and therefore open up a higher level, a higher, more stable job. Here's your first win, fam. This CD trap, dodge it. If you're in this level, survival is the name of the game and you have to hustle. There's no way around it. You have to hustle. Over time, plus a free course here and there, you can flip the script and get a higher level paying job. So maybe another security guard, maybe it's the security guard's supervisor because you upskill, you learn a little management. Over time, you can start getting a higher income, and your income is your best wealth building tool. So you're not doomed, you're just a little bit dormant. Wake up. Next up, the lower middle class, aka the hustle zone. Imagine this: hardworking trainees grind every day for a better life, but just one setback from losing it all. This is the heartbeat of our working world. Factory workers, clerks, tradesmen, all pushing for that dream. What's the dream? Owning a home and sending their kids to some tertiary education institution like UWI or UTT. So the next generation does not have to struggle like they did. At least that's what people are thinking. They're chasing that golden ticket, a stable job in a big shot company like Angostura or BPTT with pensions and perks, or a secure government position with benefits. Their income? Between 3,000 and 9,000 TT a month. This is about 440 to 1,320 US. Yearly, this is 36,000 to 108,000 TT. And what about their net worth? Maybe between 10,000 to 500,000 TT. Enough for a used car, a rented place, or even a HDC house if they saved smart. But here's the catch: one emergency, a medical bill, a sudden layoff, or a slow month for a tradesman, and they could slip back into poverty. Solo entrepreneurs like barbers or caterers are in this mix too, fighting to grow their business. Life here is a tightrope walk. Home ownership feels out of the reach. HDC is their best shot because traditional mortgages are tough to get. And what about consumer debt? It's a silent killer. Unsecured loans, maxed out credit cards, or buying that new fridge on terms from courts, Ready Finance can trap them. Miss one payment and it's a downward spiral. Factory workers in Point Lisas keep the economy moving, but they pay barely cover the bills. So, how do they level up? Start with a budget. Try the 75, 10, 15% rule, where 75% are for your living expenses, 10% goes to your savings, and 15% either goes to pay off your debt or go to investing. Build a robust emergency fund. Aim for at least 3 to 6 months rent. Crush that consumer debt and stop living beyond your means. Focus on upskilling. Take a course. Learn a trade that pays better. Entrepreneurs should find a mentor to sharpen their business skills. Here's the truth: working class warriors, you are not stuck. You are in the launch zone. Budget smart, save a little, and kill that debt and upskill. That HDC house and your child's degree, they are closer than you think. You're building a bridge out of this daily grind. Now let's talk about the upper middle class, the comfort climb. Picture this: a posh lifestyle, new cars, gated communities, and all-inclusive fetes. But one wrong move and it could all come crashing down. Who's living on this edge? Trinidad's upper middle class. These are the engineers, the doctors, the dentists, the professionals with master's degrees. To those below, they seem like they're balling, jetting off to Miami or to Europe or to London, hitting events like Tribe Ignite and flexing on Instagram like they're already rich. But here's the truth: they're spending big to look wealthy, not to build wealth. Their income solid between 10,000 and 40,000 TT a month. That's about 1,470 USD to 5,880 USD a month, or 120,000 to 480,000 TT yearly. Their net worth around 500,000 to 2 million TT. Most tied up in a $2 to $3 million home, like in Trin City or West Moorings. They have a brand new SUV and maybe some savings if they're smart. But many are still stretched thin. They drive flashy cars, Toyota Prado, BMW. Some of them even have Porsche, big Hilux, because they can afford the payments. Pensions from companies like Heritage Petroleum and BPTT keep them comfortable. And hefty lines of credit blur the line between them and the truly rich until the music stops. They live high, fancy dinners, kids go in private schools. But what about their assets? Not much beyond the house and car, if you consider a car an asset. A 6% commercial mortgage over 30 years eats up a lot of cash. That's about 15,000 TT a month on a $2 million TT loan. As long as the job stays steady, everything is good. But layoffs, like what happened in Petrochin collapse or BPTT cuts, can flip the script. Savings dry up fast when you don't have a steady income because they're trying to keep up with the debt and lifestyle. They're not broke, but they're a bit brittle. So, how can they climb higher? Don't inflate your lifestyle. Save and invest instead. Build robust passive income streams either by getting rental properties, Airbnb, or long-term rentals. Invest in private businesses because you have that extra liquidity to make that investment, or invest in the Trinidad and Tobago stock market. Do it the simple way like I do. Aim for assets that can cover your costs in 10 years. This is a 10-year plan where you invest in assets and over time, your passive income grows. Build a solid, robust emergency fund, 6 months of all your expenses, and get insurance to protect yourself from life unexpected, like additional life insurance or medical insurance. Ditch the credit trap. Looking rich isn't the same as being rich. Here's the win, upper middle income crew. You are close to the elite status. Stop flexing and start stacking those assets. Swap going those all-inclusive FETs and put down on a rental down payment. And in a decade, you won't be just living comfortable, you would be rich. Leverage your skills, not your credit, and the dream will be yours. Finally, we have the rich, the masters of the wealth game. What's their secret sauce? And how do they keep stacking cash while the rest of us watch from the sidelines? This is the big leagues. This is the top 5-10% of Trinidad. The names we all know. And they're not just the high-income professionals. They are the puppet masters who work behind the scenes, the business tycoons, the old money families, and the deal makers. What's their strategy? They do not play the game. They own the board. What's their goal? To lock in generational wealth so their kids and grandkids never have to lift a finger. Their income starts at 40,000 TT a month or 480,000 TT yearly, with the real heavy hitters pulling in 6 figures monthly. Easy. Their net worth? We're talking about more than 2 million TT and up, stretching into the tens of millions, from 50 to 100 million for the elite. And yes, sure, they have villas in Goodwood Park, but that's just pocket change compared to their overall asset portfolio. Unlike the rest of us, their money isn't tied up in fancy houses. It's in the big stakes in the Trinidad and Tobago, in companies in the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange, the Massey's, the Ansa McCalls, the Angosturas. They own or have a lot of stake in the companies we work for. It's just not the roof over their heads. Their playbook is simple. Let money make money. Dividends from Massey, profits from Ansa's empire, millions roll in while they sip rum and relax. They even fund politicians with big campaign checks, securing insider information on contracts or policy changes to help in their decision making when they want to multiply their earnings like clockwork. This cycle keeps spinning and pushing them into the top 1%, where incomes soar past 500,000 TT yearly. Most of them own rentals, businesses. Of course, they have offshore accounts. And they don't just have one property. So how can you join this elite group? By putting your cash to work. Buy assets, not liabilities. Start small. Invest in one stock. Buy one rental unit. Skip the flashy lifestyle and build a quiet empire. Here's the golden rule. The rich don't hoard, they multiply. Ditch the look rich trap and grab a piece of the stock market and start the side hustle that pays dividends. Their wealth is a machine and yours can be too. In 10 years, I call it the decade of intense sacrifice. In 10 years, you won't be dreaming of a house in West Moorings. You'll be sitting in one thinking about your other properties that you want to buy. On a final note, you have to satisfy both the income range and the respective net worth range to qualify for a particular socioeconomic level. So let's say you have a very low income and a very high net worth, you belong to the category of the income. You just have to level up that income. So, if any of what I said hits home, smash that like button, share it with your crew, subscribe for more. Drop your thoughts in the comments and tell me what's your next financial move. Bye for now.